There was once a young man named Daniel who stood at the edge of a road that split into two paths. One path was wide, bright, and crowded. People were rushing down it, laughing, showing off their success, their money, and their confidence. It looked easy. It looked safe. It looked like the road everyone wanted. The other path was narrow, quiet, and uncertain. It disappeared into the hills covered in fog. There were no signs, no crowd, no applause, just silence. Daniel stood there confused. He had dreams. He had plans. He had goals bigger than his fear. But deep inside, he also had questions. What if I choose the wrong road? What if I fail? What if I walk alone? What if the road God wants for me is harder than the road I want for myself? He looked at the wide road again. It was tempting. It promised fast rewards. It promised comfort. It promised acceptance. But then, in the stillness of his heart, he felt something stronger than fear. A whisper. Not loud. Not dramatic, but clear. Go where I lead. Daniel closed his eyes. That whisper didn't tell him everything. It didn't explain the full journey. It didn't promise there would be no pain. It didn't promise people would understand. It only gave him one instruction. Trust me. And sometimes, that is how God works. He doesn't always show you the whole staircase. He simply asks you to take the first step. So Daniel stepped onto the narrow road. At first, it felt lonely. No one clapped for him. No one said, "You made the right choice." No one handed him a map. There were days when the fog got thicker. There were moments when the road became steep. There were nights when he wanted to turn back. He saw others moving faster on the wide road. He saw people gaining things he hadn't yet received. He saw success happening for everyone else while he was still climbing. And in those moments, doubt crept in. Maybe I made a mistake. Maybe faith is too expensive. Maybe I should have chosen what looked easier. But every time he was ready to quit, God reminded him of something powerful. Easy is not always right. Crowded is not always blessed. Popular is not always purpose. So Daniel kept walking, step by step, prayer by prayer, tear by tear, faith by faith. As time passed, something changed. The road didn't become easier. Daniel became stronger. The storms didn't disappear. His spirit became steadier. The mountains didn't shrink. His faith grew taller. That's what happens when you walk where God leads. He may not remove every obstacle, but he will build in you the strength to overcome every one of them. One day, after a long climb, Daniel reached the top of the hill, and what he saw took his breath away. The fog was gone. Before him was a beautiful valley filled with peace, purpose, and promise. Everything he had been searching for wasn't on the crowded road.